Welcome to Asian Star Trend. I'm Hannah, and today we've got some hot and trending news to share with you. In a quiet, almost imperceptible moment, Yu Long remembered the instant Mie Mie said, "I agree." Life is a river of words, flowing endlessly, most vanishing without leaving a mark. Yet occasionally, a single phrase etches itself into memory, carrying warmth, sound, and breath that linger long after. For Yu Long, this was one of those rare moments. There were no grand gestures, no applause, no brilliant lights illuminating the scene. Not even the air seemed to move. And yet, time itself seemed to pause. Those three simple words landed with the weight of inevitability, like a stone breaking the mirror-like surface of a still pond. Ripples spread outward, not only across the moment but into the depths of the heart, stirring emotions that had no need for explanation. Yu Long understood, instinctively, that "I agree" was more than consent. It was an unspoken promise, a declaration of trust and a quiet, binding vow. In that fleeting breath, all doubts dissolved. The world outside could continue in its chaos, but for him, clarity had arrived, wrapped in the gentlest cadence of her voice. Moments like these are elusive, invisible to anyone else but seared into memory for those who witness them. They teach us the profound truth that life's most meaningful connections are rarely adorned with spectacle. They exist in sincerity, in the delicate acknowledgement between two souls. When the echoes of that instant finally settled, Yu Long felt an unexpected clarity, a reassurance that words could transform into anchors. And in the simplest, purest way, he realized that some moments, some promises, are timeless. They linger long after everything else has faded. Yu Long had always prided himself on patience, a careful, deliberate man who measured life in precise steps, never rushing, never yielding to impulse. Yet love with Mie Mie revealed an entirely new dimension to waiting. Days stretched long, filled with a delicate balance of sweetness and anxiety, each heartbeat echoing with anticipation. The sweetness arrived in the smallest details, the way her laughter lit up a room, the casual brush of her hand against his, moments so ordinary yet extraordinary that they seemed to illuminate the entire world. And yet, behind each glow was a shadow of fear, the anxiety that such brilliance might be fleeting, fragile, slipping away like sand through his fingers. He remembered the first time he held her hand. The warmth, the gentleness, the subtle tremor beneath her skin, all of it pressed against his consciousness, as if he were touching the most secret corner of his own heart. Her eyes shifted, just slightly, a fleeting flutter of hesitation. But she did not pull away. In that silent acknowledgement, the world contracted. There were no words, no grand declarations, just the simple, undeniable truth of connection. From that instant, Yu Long knew that letting go was no longer an option. Love had rewritten the rules of patience for him. It was no longer about measured time or careful steps. It was about presence, courage, and the willingness to hold on when the world offered no guarantees. Every glance, every touch, became a thread weaving them closer, an unspoken promise of permanence in a universe defined by uncertainty. And in the quiet intensity of that hand in his, Yu Long understood what so many search for but seldom find, the rare, transformative certainty that some bonds, once formed, cannot and will not be broken. Many nights, they sat side by side on a cold stone bench, letting silence stretch between them like a living thing. No words were needed, glances carried a depth far greater than speech. Moonlight filtered softly through the trees, tracing gentle curves along Yu Long's face. And when Mie Mie smiled, it was as though the crescent moon itself had descended to linger on her lips, captivating, tender, impossible to look away from. Yet amid these quiet moments, Yu Long felt a subtle, unshakable anxiety, a shadow that whispered the inevitability of change. What if this peace, this delicate balance, disappeared without warning? That day arrived sooner than he imagined. He had prepared himself, rehearsed the words in solitude, yet as the moment drew near, his breath shortened, and his heart pounded with a rhythm foreign to him. He did not seek grandiose declarations or poetic flourishes. He only wanted honesty, unvarnished and true. He needed her to hear the simplest truth, that he loved her, that he longed to stand by her side through every season, in sun or storm. In that moment, the entire world contracted to the space between them, Charged with urgency and vulnerability, Yulong realized that love was not measured in grand gestures or fleeting romance. It was in the courage to be present, to promise protection without reservation, to cherish every fragile, luminous smile. Every second, every heartbeat, affirmed that he was ready to devote his life to guarding this tenderness. And so, beneath the quiet witness of the moon and the trees, he spoke from the depths of his soul, offering a vow not just of words, but of unwavering presence. In that space, Yulong understood the rare, transformative power of love. It is both a sanctuary and a promise, fragile yet unbreakable, capable of anchoring two hearts amid the unpredictable tides of life. When Mie Mie looked up at him, her eyes shimmered with the brilliance of an entire sky. Yulong smiled softly and whispered, "I agree." In that instant, time itself seemed to pause. The wind brushed past like a gentle sigh, unnecessary extras, camera flashes, background music felt irrelevant. The world narrowed to a single, sacred point, the quiet power hidden within those three simple words. Memories cascaded through his mind, their tentative first meetings, the playful freedom that followed, her holding an umbrella over him in the rain, offering a cup of hot tea in the stillness of night. Each fleeting gesture, every subtle glance, had quietly woven her into the fabric of his life. To anyone else, "I agree" might appear ordinary. To him, it was everything, a declaration of absolute trust, a pledge of shared futures, of joys and sorrows alike. His chest warmed with an almost painful tenderness, and tears threatened to spill, yet he resisted. He would not let the fragile perfection of this moment be dulled by emotion. It was more than a promise, it was an anchor. In that suspended heartbeat, Yulong recognized a rare clarity. Love was not measured by grand gestures or fleeting passion, but by the quiet assurance that two souls could meet, fully and fearlessly, and choose each other. He silently vowed that no storm, no distance, and no obstacle could erase this instant from memory. That simple, steadfast "I agree" would remain his compass, his source of courage, his reason to protect their bond. In the stillness, with the soft echo of her meow as witness, Yulong understood the extraordinary power of trust, devotion, and a love that had quietly become the center of his life. From that day forward, their world seemed painted with a new hue. Life had been happy before, but those joys were private, fleeting whispers between two people. Now, happiness had become a shared language. Morning sunlight spilled through the curtains onto the bed, where Mie Mie slept peacefully. Yulong gently lifted a corner of the blanket, careful not to disturb her dreams. Returning from work, he tread lightly, aware of her busy movements in the kitchen. These small attentions formed the quiet, unspoken rhythm of family life. Their sweetness was subtle yet omnipresent. In winter, Mie Mie would tuck a warm hand warmer into his pocket unnoticed, and he, in turn, would quietly complete chores to give her time to curl up on the sofa with her favorite shows. Sometimes they sat together on the balcony, watching city lights rise, sharing silence that spoke volumes. To Yulong, these ordinary moments carried more beauty than any grand ceremony. "I agree" had not ended the pursuit, it had begun a new journey. For many, such words mark stability. For them, they became a contract, a pledge to walk together through ease and adversity, to love not only strengths but also vulnerabilities. Yulong listened more carefully, offered gentle words, and embraced her when needed. Mie Mie responded in kind, accepting his long hours, his silence, his imperfections, and meeting them with her patience and understanding. Love was not just spoken, it lived in daily acts, repeated gestures, and mutual care. If love were a song, "I agree" was the opening note. Each day added new lyrics, sharing an umbrella, eating popsicles on summer nights, curling together under a warm blanket in winter. One evening, while Mie Mie cooked, Yulong played a simple melody on his guitar and brought her a bowl of soup. "What's the name of this song?" he asked. She smiled. "Just call it 'I agree.'" When friends asked about the secret to their love, Yulong would smile quietly. Some happiness needs no explanation. Outsiders hear only the melody, they alone understand its meaning. Love is not about grand gestures but about protecting each other in the ordinary, cherishing small details. "I agree" became a handshake between hearts, a promise to walk side by side through sun, rain, and snow. Life might not always be perfect, But because they chose each other, every imperfection gained meaning.